Did you know that there are really only two types of clients in these medical malpractice cases, these accident cases, and wrongful death cases? You want to know what they are? And at the end of the video, I'm going to ask you a question whether you think you are more like client number one or client number two. Hi, I'm Gerry Oginski, a New York medical malpractice and personal injury attorney. I have come to the conclusion after many years of practice that there are really only two types of clients. And what are they? Client number one is the one who wants very little, if anything, to do with their lawsuit. Client number two, on the other hand, wants to know every single detail and is super involved with every single aspect of their case. Now, why do I bring this up? I bring this up because in every single type of case that I bring, I find that the clients are clearly divided into one of those two categories. Either you have a very, very seriously injured patient who now really wants nothing to do with a lawsuit. The only thing that they are focused on is trying to get better, trying to improve their life, trying to improve their ability to communicate with their family, trying to get back to work. They are so focused on trying to improve themselves that they really don't have time to go ahead and focus on the details and wanting to know every single minute detail of their case. Now, on the other hand, client number two has plenty of time on their hands. They are focused. Their entire life revolves around their particular lawsuit. They think that their lawsuit is going to change their life dramatically. And in one sense, it just may. If we are able to be successful and get them a substantial settlement or a substantial verdict that is upheld on appeal. Yes, in many instances, that type of resolution of their case can and hopefully will make a difference in their life and in their family's life. However, client number two tends to be focused on what exactly is happening. They want to know all the mechanics and the logistics and every single detail about what's happening and why isn't it happening fast enough. Now, there's nothing wrong with being like client number two, and there's nothing wrong with being like client number one. But I bring this up because it's really interesting. It's an interesting observation that I've noticed over time. Client number one tends to be the much more seriously injured patient. And the lawsuit just happens to be a byproduct, something that's happening in the background that they're not focused on. They want to know occasionally what's happening, but they want the big picture. I don't need to know the details, they say. Just tell me what I need to know from time to time, and that's perfectly okay. Most of the time, they are so focused on trying to improve themselves that they don't really care so much about the day-to-day details. The second type of client is one who really tends to focus entirely on their lawsuit. They are living for the lawsuit. They want to know every single detail. When is this going to happen? Why did the attorney do this? Why isn't this happening? And there's nothing wrong with knowing all those details. I'm more than happy to share all those details and explanations. But it's just an interesting observation, and it's something that no one has ever talked about that I've seen on a video. And it's important because as you're deciding whether or not to bring a case, I want you to ask yourself, which type of client do you think you are more aligned with? Do you think you'd be like client number one, where you're hands-off and just want to get things done over time and you're not really focused on the details and the minutiae? Or do you want to be super involved? Do you want to know everything that's going on? And one is not overly better than the other. It's just an observation that I'm making because I want you to think about it as you're deciding whether or not to go ahead and pursue a case here in New York. You know, I realize you're watching this video because you likely have questions or concerns about your own matter. Well, if your matter did happen here in New York and you have not yet started a lawsuit but are thinking of doing so and still have questions that need to be answered, what I invite you to do is pick up the phone and call me. You know, I answer questions like yours every single day and I'd love to chat with you. You can reach me at 516-487-8207 or by email at Gerry, Gerry, at Oginski-law.com. Well, that's it for today's video. I'm Gerry Oginski. Have a fantastic day.